I'm back.
Good
I'm
to see you.
back. Oh my
Good
gosh.
to see you. Good to see you.
So just feels so right.
It fits like a glove, unless you're OJ, in which case it should not. You got to acquit. I feel like I just got the podcast canceled. But anyway, welcome to the only podcast where we talk about candy and growing your YouTube channels. As we have known, you know what's funny? As Rob was on the last episode, and he talked about we said I was joking about the candy podcast, and he mentioned that he gets like, you know, when you go to a clothing store, they have like irregular clothing that's on sale.
Yeah.
Like they might have an extra stitch or a button that's out of place. Apparently they have candy like that over in the UK, and he buys the regular
Defected candy.
I'm like, what is this?
Wait, we need to get Rob help.
I know what is going on.
Rob, what are they paying him over there? Why is he buying defective
I don't
candy?
know. I don't know what's happening over there in the UK. Anyway, we have lots of messages from y'all. We thank you for joining us as always. And I got a lot of positive feedback from reading some of the comments on the last couple of YouTube videos. So I guess I'll do one or two of those before we get into the questions, just because they're kind of fun. And it's great. Wow. Here's one from growing to live. Wow. At the end, you read my comment on one of the videos about liking flat soda. Well, okay. We all have special likes. Thanks. You made my day. I've been so enjoying the boost. And of course, I do my best to catch John with the live thumbnails, but I love the replays. I learn a lot. Thank you so much. Yeah, I do love a flat soda. I haven't had flat soda in a long time, but yeah, that's great. I appreciate it. Yeah. John was on the last episode. Did a good job. There's another one. My 68-year-old father watches YouTube Shorts. I don't really have any of that age range in my analytics, but I figured I'd throw it out there. So I think one of the things that I think it was me and John were talking about, that Shorts a lot of time have a lot of younger viewers, but sure, I mean, it's not exclusive just to younger viewers. And as a matter of fact, there was a recent thing that YouTube put out, and it's funny because I ironically was talking to another large YouTuber this past week about the growth of YouTube on television. And that is to say, watching YouTube videos on television. I watch a lot of my YouTube on TV. I use a Apple TV. I've been doing that for years, so it's normal for me. But it's growing, and what YouTube said was like, it's the number one. It's past mobile, which is insane to me. How is that even possible? I don't even know how that's possible, because mobile is like, you know, Shorts and everything. You watch it on your phone. Now, why should you care about this? This is super important. This actually benefits you, Jen, because as you were talking about trying like longer form content, television average view duration is super high because people are used to watching long television shows like Severance, which is one of the greatest television shows of all time.
Oh my God, don't say anything. I have to catch up on like the past 2 episodes tonight.
The past 2 episodes? Jen, you better hurry up.
I've been away.
You need to hurry up and watch them today, because tomorrow's the next episode, and then I need to talk about that.
Tomorrow's the next episode?
Yes. So you're going to be 3 behind. You need to hurry up.
Oh my God.
I have so many things to talk to you about. It's insane.
Oh my gosh.
It's the craziest show ever. Your mind is going to twist.
It is the craziest show ever. It really is. And it's so funny because that first episode, I think on 3 separate occasions, I tried to watch that show and just like kept putting on the first episode and was like,
yeah, right.
I don't know what I'm watching here.
Right.
And then once you get past that, it's like,
You're
what's happening?
Bro, when you see these last 2, oh my God, listen, if y'all not watching this show, you need to get into it. And it's storytelling to the nth degree, and they do some really cool things in the show. But my point is, because of that, it means that longer form content can grow on YouTube, which is great. I mean, we always kind of knew that, but this statistic alone, I mean, I've worked with a lot of channels where their television watching audience is growing and their average view duration grows because your tolerance for sitting there and watching something for 20, 30 minutes is much higher, much higher. So success can be had.
So what does that mean for Shorts?
I don't care what happens to Shorts. I'm just going, you know,
same.
This. I don't really care.
Same. It's so funny though to see a world going in opposite directions. Like you have part of the platform where we're talking like hour-long content is normal.
Yeah.
And then we have part of the platform where for the most part, I think we still keep it under a minute.
Yeah. I think that's going to be the case moving forward. YouTube wants to have it all.
My. Such a drastic difference for creators.
It is 2 different types of editing. It's 2 different types of storytelling. It's a different skill set. Doesn't mean you can't do it, but it is a different skill set to be able to tell a story that's interesting in 30 seconds versus 30 minutes. That's a different story. That's a different, man, listen. That's not me. I can't do it. All right. let's get into some of these text messages. So if you're listening to the audio podcast, there's a link in the show notes that says, send us a text message. And this first one comes from my hometown of Seattle. What's good, vidIQ crew? Sorry in advance for the text dump, pun intended. My name is Caleb. I've been listening to the Spotify podcast for a couple months now. Well, welcome, Caleb. Nice to have you. In a world where almost no one I know is interested in content creation, this podcast serves as a nearly daily encouragement to continue to push my journey. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you for all you do. That's
that is
wonderful.
So sweet. I encourage Caleb to branch out and try to make some, I was going to say like IRL YouTube friends, but we'll be just about as IRL as YouTube friends that he makes.
I mean, we're pretty close.
Similar niche creators. I actually just did this personally.
Did you?
I infiltrated a creator's comment section.
Really?
What happened? Was like, hey, we should like strategize. Like I have a little group, and if you wanted to be a part of it, like you could.
What's the group? Like, do you use it on Facebook or something? How do you group?
Like Zoom? Or FaceTime.
Wow.
Or text group.
Wow.
And then they were like, I don't know what this means. And then we messaged on Instagram because obviously there's no DM feature.
Right. On YouTube,
and I said, like, do you have any YouTube friends? Like, do you talk to about anybody like with YouTube? Mm-hmm. She's like, I have literally nobody I know that does any type of content creation. I was like, yeah, we talk about our thumbnails. We talk about ideas, future collabs. And she was like, this sounds amazing. I would love to do this.
That's awesome. No, that's fantastic.
So I definitely encourage other people to try to find their own little micro community like that. It's totally doable. You can be the weird stranger in the comments. I promise you. It's all right.
That's amazing. All right, here we go with the rest of his message. I've been making content on and off, mainly via live streaming, rest in peace Mixer, for those who remember Mixer, since 2016, but I decided to take a real crack at high-effort curated content for YouTube. I have a gaming channel with focus on commentary, storytelling, and a desire to push into the critique of games and their franchises as well. My goal is to become monetized before June of 2025 and eventually replace my day job with content creation. My first 3 videos have all done between 750 views and 1.7 thousand views, ranging from about 7 to 12 minutes in length. I still stream. I try to do it 4 days a week. And while I still enjoy it, I struggle to see how I can repurpose sections of that content for videos of high enough quality to justify posting them on my channel. Now, my question, do you think as a small channel, with the success of the videos I've done so far, I should cut back on my stream time in an effort to post 2 high-quality videos a week instead of 1, or maintain my stream schedule and just throw lightly edited segments from the stream to keep the content flowing in hopes they get served to the right audience the same way? I have a definitive thought about this. What are your thoughts?
So do I.
Go ahead. You go first.
Do we have the same definitive thought? Dun, dun,
I'm wondering. Go ahead. You go first.
Absolutely stop streaming.
I agree.
Not stop streaming, but like option A.
I agree.
Streams don't really get you anywhere. I know everybody wants to be a streamer and like prioritizing that is a big deal, but there's a balance. There's a balance.
Yeah. It's when you said you're getting views between 700 and 1,000, that's a great place to be, especially when you're first starting out. That means something's catching on. That means it's successful. You can eventually come back to live streaming more often once you have a bigger community, and that will make that more fun and maybe interactive, and maybe you'll be able to use parts from that. But it sounds to me like you already have your answer. You're putting something out. It sure takes more time, but you're getting more out of it. I say if you're going to do this when you want to be monetized and all these other things, you need to go that direction immediately, like now. Throw in all the extra time and effort into that. And I think you'll learn more about content creation by doing that than live streaming, because live streaming allows you to be very loose and kind of like not adhere to a lot of rules, so to speak. Whereas when you're putting up edited content, you learn stuff real quick. Like, this ain't working. Whoops.
Yep.
Yeah. So
streaming's the easy option. Gamers don't want to hear it, but I think in comparison, few people take on the actual challenge of making edited, thought out content like that. And you're seeing the success. Run with it. Run with it. You're muted.
It's not to say that all streamed content is cheat code easy. It's not, because it is easy to stream in front of nobody. And that happens a lot. You stream and no one shows up.
True.
But what we're saying is, because of this person's target goals, there's an obvious answer here. And you can always come back to live streaming later. So that was that. That was a good answer. This next message says, hey guys, love the podcast. I've recently started my podcast and was wondering how the algorithm works for that. I use Buzzsprout and all the listed directories. I'm in real estate investing niche. Thank you again. So it's ironic because earlier today, and you don't know this because you weren't in the meeting, we were meeting about the main channel content. And one of the things was, one of the other things that YouTube said was that podcasts are one of the most viewed things on YouTube or whatever, right? And we were going to do a video about like top 5 tips on how to grow your podcast. I said we shouldn't do it on the main channel. Doesn't make sense for our viewership. I think they're still going to do it. And it's ironic we get this question on the literal same day that meeting happened.
That is funny.
Maybe I'm wrong. Here's the thing about the audio side of podcasts. I've actually been a podcaster on and off for 13 years or something like that, 14 years, something ridiculous. I don't remember. I've lost track of how many years it's been. And there really isn't an audio, so to speak, algorithm. It's certainly not in the degree that there is for YouTube. So I'll just give you a strategy rather than try to tell you how that works, because there really isn't. I mean, the best thing I can tell you is that Apple TV or Apple Podcasts and Spotify are the two major kind of players in the audio space. So you want to get on there. You want to get people to leave reviews and stuff. The 5-star reviews on Apple, that helps a lot. But it's a really good idea to do what we're doing, which is to start a YouTube channel, because that's the discovery engine. There really isn't a great discovery engine on the other services. I mean, there is now. There used not to be one at all. And while there are some, like you can go into like Apple Podcasts and it might suggest something, it's not on the degree that YouTube is. So even if you just upload the audio podcast to YouTube, a little bit low effort, but could work, that's going to give you more reach than just doing audio only. And there is a way, and you can Google it, how to use your RSS feed from your audio podcast, and it will automatically upload all of your podcasts to YouTube. I just recommend shooting the YouTube video, or shooting the video when you're doing the podcast. That way you can have something that's visual, and then you can always take the audio from that. For example, Spotify allows you to upload a video as a podcast, and it will strip out the audio and then distribute it to other podcast platforms. So I would do that. That way you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone. But now people are asking us for podcast advice. I guess we're podcast experts.
Look at us go.
Look at us go. I also want to mention in the coming weeks, we're going to have a couple of guests coming on to the show. For people who are interested in figuring out how to monetize their content outside of YouTube specifically, we're going to have Justin Moore on. He has a book that just came out. He's super smart.
Super exciting.
Yeah, you're going to learn how to make some big money, even with a smaller channel. He's a great guy, and I love the things that he has to say. He's a great guy. And then we're going to have a couple other people that we're talking to coming on. Noah Grossman from Smosh, and then we also are going to have Trisha Hirschberger, who does a lot of stuff. Like, if you've ever been on Amazon, you've probably seen her streaming on Amazon. But she's been on TV. She's done everything. She's done a lot of things. So we'll have them all on in the coming weeks. All right, let's get to the emails. The email here is theboost@vidiq.com. And the first one is from Andrew. It says, sudden drop-off in analytics. Hello, Jen and Travis, and good day from Australia. I love it. He's from the Upside Down. He's from the Upside Down.
Down under.
I've had a burning question for years and wanted to know if you could answer it for me. Okay. I don't know that I'm going to be answering any questions that's been burning for years. Jen, I don't know what to do. All right, here we go. One of your recent videos was saying about average view duration and 5-minute audiences. What happens if your video is clicked on by accident and backed out of? Or if you went through a series of videos in one session and you're like me and you're used to hitting the back button, backspace, back through those videos, does the accidental click or momentary view duration of those views count as a view? If so, does YouTube see these incidental views and put them against your metrics and analytics? I'm asking because I'm trying to figure out why the sudden drop-off in views on any given video, especially when the more recent offerings, I've been giving the viewer value proposition they're looking for within the 10 seconds and assuming that I'm not a clickbaiter. Please let me know your thoughts. Big fella. So, yes, it does count. There used to be a threshold. I don't know what the threshold is. It might still exist. It might be like 3 seconds or something. I forget what the threshold is. There is some type of threshold that's considered a view. So, yeah, but that's why it's average view duration. That's why like I said, I don't remember in which video, you might have like a 5-minute view duration, but the reality is a lot of people might have got to the end. A lot of people might have gone through a 10, right? But if 10 people get to the end and one person doesn't, and there's like 11 views on a video, that makes it look like that people only watched like 7 minutes of a 10-minute video, whatever the math is. I'm not trying to math right now, Jen. You know,
I like that you picked 11 minutes for no reason. Like, who does math by 11s?
That was dumb. It instantly made it
just
harder.
been like 10 and then been like 90%.
Well, I said 10, and then I added 1, and I don't even know why I added the 1. What was the point of that? There was no point to do that.
Oh my gosh. That was good. That was really good.
Remember, what was it a couple of weeks ago, Jen? We were talking about things you have no control over, you can't worry about.
This is one of them. I was going to say, this is a stretch to be worrying about people accidentally clicking on your video and that being what's holding you back. I can promise you that's not it. And it sounds like that's, a bold statement, but that's not what's holding back the content. That's not what's dropping off views. I don't know how a million people could accidentally click on a video to skew analytics in such a large sense like that and register as a view, because I know the threshold you're talking about, and I want to say that it used to be closer to that 3-second mark, but I don't remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, these are like one of those things where we really try to find the answer that's not our fault.
Yes. And there's nothing you can do about it anyway.
Yeah.
So that happens to every video on YouTube. I mean, sometimes you might go, oh, okay, no, I don't really like this, or this isn't what I'm looking for. It just happens, right? It's a thing. Doesn't matter how clear you are in the title and thumbnail. It's going to happen. 100%. It's going to happen. So
you just got to push through it.
Yes. Push through it.
You just got to push through it. Every creator is going to get the same thing you're going through. Lower views, lower impressions, less money.
Less money?
No subscribers.
How dare you?
That's the game of YouTube, and it goes back up.
Yes.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Okay, so something happened while you were gone in the last, I want to say 2 episodes. You're not aware of this. And I don't know why it happened. I think it might have been because one of our videos on the main channel mentions, us and that you can contact us. We've gotten several emails that don't call us by name. And I'm always like, and this is one of them.
Weird.
Hey, I hope this is vidIQ. Okay, so
it's
I think
not.
right off the bat.
You have the wrong number.
This is a candy podcast, sir. So it's a candy podcast. I just want to ask a question about this decision. I currently upload daily, and each video gets a reasonable amount of views after 3 days published. Meaning the first 2 days when publishing a video doesn't get much views. So I was thinking about shifting from a daily schedule to a 3-day gap between each videos. It's good for me since I get time to do research on my videos and find ideas. Plus the videos will have a consistent view count. I expect them to be. But are my viewers going to like this change? I have a lot of viewers who discovered my channel on an old video and keep watching to this day. How do I exactly make this change? I think it's important to find a cadence that works for you in your life anyway.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing wrong with this. We literally talked about this in the meeting today. Today's meeting basically was answering YouTube questions that have come into the boost. And
looking into the future. I love it. Travis is extra prepared today.
I accidentally prepared is what I'm calling it. We need to get a shirt that says accidentally prepared.
I love it.
We're going to get this merch going this year. I swear we will. So here's what the conversation was around. The conversation was around a company that I worked with on YouTube, and then also our manager was talking about a former company he worked with where the channel was getting tons and tons of views, and then the investors or whatever wanted more views, so like to just put out more content. If you do 3 videos a week, you're getting this many views, put out 6 videos a week, get double the views, right? Math, right? Doesn't work that way. I mean, it should work that way, but it doesn't. And what we found was, what I found, and even talking to this other creator, which was actually, we did the opposite. They had a lot of videos. I had told them to do less videos, and they still had the same amount of views. And that's kind of what this question is like, can I do less because I'm seeing this kind of ceiling? And the answer is yes.
Yes.
Because sometimes you are putting too many videos out that people have to make a choice. And depending on who your viewership is, if they're not on YouTube every day, they may not see 2 or 3 of your videos. And now if they're suggested 2 or 3 of your videos, they only have time for one, they got to pick one. So view portion of all your videos, you're going to see that spike where, like, if these people are, let's say, for example, you do a show about business related things. Well, these people got a job. They got things to do. Not on YouTube all the time. They might come one every 3 days. And if that's the case, they might see one out of every 3 of your videos. And if you just upload it every 3rd day, maybe they'll see every one of your videos because maybe they're only checking in every 3rd day. Have you seen this with any of your clients or anything there, Jen? Oh, you're muted. Ha! So this time you're muted. You're still muted. Look at that. Let me unmute
Literally
you.
everything is getting closed.
All right, there you go.
I see this as an opportunity to put more effort in. Spend more time and put more effort into what you're creating. Dedicate that time to a high effort video. Switch things up. There is such a thing as too much content. I totally agree with this. So what do you do with your extra time? I mean, it could mean like, take it easy, chill. But it could also mean advancing the channel by doing less content and putting more time and effort into less content.
I love that. Putting in more effort into each video, which I think is always a good use of your time. I personally don't do that. I like low effort stuff because I'm lazy.
Low effort stuff is good too, but too much low effort stuff is like nobody wants that.
Exactly that. Yeah.
Like that's hard.
Yeah. Okay. Next one. Dear Jen, Travis, and the vidIQ crew. I just uploaded my first video to my new channel with 3 thumbnails for testing. Hey, congratulations.
Wow.
YouTube says it needs 10 days to test to show the results. Is that normal? Thanks. Yes. A, it is normal. B.
Is that normal? Thanks.
Yes. Thanks. Bye. Yes, it is normal. And here's the bad news. If you're a new channel, it's probably going to say it's inconclusive because you won't have enough impressions for it to make a difference. Here's the other side of this. Unless you're doing drastically different thumbnails, even if you had a lot of impressions, and sometimes it doesn't take 10 days, like for larger channels to get a lot of views, it only takes a day or 2. It may not be conclusive anyway. So I'm not saying don't use it. I'm just saying that I think what we found by using it, and other people have found kind of similar things, is it's not as useful as we would hope. There's a lot of reasons for that. I actually think it'd be great to do title A/B testing. I would love that. I almost think in some ways that would be just as important, if not more.
That's so true. It's so hard when titles are like so close. I feel like it's not something that happens as much, but when it happens, it's like such a hard decision.
Yeah. And I love coming up with really creative titles. And it can make a difference. It really can. It can make a huge difference. So what I would say is use it, but especially when you're first starting out, don't expect, I don't want to say anything because that just sounds bad, but don't expect huge information that you'll be able to bet your channel on. I guess you could say it like that. Because with the amount of impressions you're going to get, it's going to be inconclusive almost every time. Now, the other side of this is you might get so few impressions that one might actually be way ahead because it's only maybe got like 5 clicks versus 1. And then that's technically conclusive, but to be honest, it's not really conclusive. So as a smaller creator, use it if you like. I wouldn't base my success on it though. So here we go with a guy named Dice Crazy Dude.
Okay.
This guy, he's like a gambling channel. Like, what? Dice Crazy Dude? Could that be? Well, let's see what he has to say. Jen and Travis, and your name was spelled correctly, which is amazing.
Wow.
I know.
Thank you.
Some people spell your name correctly. Yeah, that's wonderful. Like all things YouTube, there doesn't seem to be a consensus on the pros and cons of creating your own chapters and video descriptions. Whether from large or small creator, you'll see videos with large view counts with and without chapter marks. I know there's a setting that YouTube have auto add them, but that could take some time. Especially in regards to viewer retention, do you think these help or hurt? Sometimes I add them in and it seems to reinforce spikes and dips in retention. Other times I leave them off, hopefully managing to encourage people to experience the whole video. Are there certain degrees of videos that need them and others should avoid them like the plague? Thank you for your time. You'll notice if you watch the podcast here on YouTube, we have them all the time. But that's because this is a 45-minute to an hour long podcast. And it would be not a good thing for the viewer, but also not a good thing for us to not mention what's happening in the middle of the video. Like The problem with a podcast on YouTube is if you're not talking about the one thing for the entire hour, there's a bunch of little conversations that are happening and you need to tell people about them. It might be that someone might come across your thumbnail and title and be like, I'm not really interested in that topic, but something 12 minutes and 55 seconds in is something they are interested in, but they wouldn't know without the timestamp. So for longer form content, things over like, and this is, okay, by the way, not hard set in stone. This is just a Travis thing. Over like 13 minutes or so, I start putting timestamps in things. Cause I just know, right? Like just at that point, people are going to want stuff. Under that, like timestamps on an 8-minute video just seems weird. Unless it's like a how-to, I guess. But what are your thoughts on this? Cause this is, I mean, it could go either way, to be honest.
I don't think they're very pointful. I think the only time they really serve a purpose, even just for myself as a viewer, is if it's listicle content. If you're telling me 10 things and I hear number 1, not interested, number 2, not interested, I'll keep scrubbing through that video for chapters, but I would also just keep double tapping through that video as well. So like chapters don't really do anything for me.
Like as a viewer, you mean?
Yeah, as a viewer, I'm saying it would affect my behavior in no way at all.
See, it affects mine as a viewer a lot, actually, which
That's
is
crazy.
interesting.
How?
Well, because there's like I just said, there's videos that I'll watch that I don't really want a lot of the other information, and I wouldn't have known about some of the information in the middle that I am interested in. And I probably would have never gotten to that point if it wasn't for the timestamp. And I don't think that's the thing that's always normal for me. But since timestamps have become more prevalent over the last year or so, that has become a part of my viewing habits. It was not a viewing habit even when you could still do it when they first came out. It's only more recently.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's
and I'm
really
talking about the last 8 to 10 months. So it's very recent for me. Before that, timestamps were like, okay, cool, whatever. I'm probably gonna watch anyway. Now I'm like, I'm more selective. So I'm like, well, what is there is a part here. And as a matter of fact, there are videos where I've only watched like 2 timestamps in the video and didn't watch any other part of it.
What kind of video would you guess that was?
Well, I could tell you, like, I think the last time I did this was like a video review on a video card.
Okay, so a review. So you're interested. Yeah, I think that makes sense though, because you're interested in like very specific aspects. Yeah, the information. Mm-hmm. Like, are we chaptering our vlogs? Like, no.
Yeah, see, I might agree with you there. Yeah, I might agree with you there. Yeah. I mean, it might be interesting to timestamp something that happens really interesting. Okay, Jen, you've made your point. Look, but I'm saying like,
no, but I think it's for like a utility purpose, like you're saying. I think it is helpful because if someone doesn't actually care about the, unboxing portion and they just want to see what it looks like, it's very easy to skip ahead in that sense.
Yeah, it's a good point. So I guess what we're saying is it depends, which is pretty much the answer for everything. Like
it depends on why someone would skip ahead. I would just use judgment as, is there a reason they would skip ahead? If there's a benefit, in your opinion, for why they would skip ahead to get to very specific, different segments of the content, then that could be, if each segment's offering its own individual value for the audience, then that could be something you judge this by. If it's just to break up a video into parts, like if you find yourself struggling to set chapters, you probably don't need chapters.
Interesting. I like that.
I don't know. There's so many different parts of YouTube though, and I'm so curious like where the overlap happens with that in mind.
Well, and they were also saying sometimes you can set a thing where Google or YouTube will automatically timestamp stuff, but so does Google. So if if you search for something, it will bring out a timestamp of a video for your answer. So it does that automatically, and the creator didn't necessarily do that. So I guess like a lot of times I just let YouTube do its thing because it's going to make the best choices anyway. It's going to make better choices than me because it has more information about what's going on than me. So a lot of times I just let it do that. I talked about this last week with setting ads in videos. Oh, some people do them manually. I personally just let YouTube do its thing. Of course, you know, there are definite people who
YouTube
have very
goes
strong opinions.
wild doing its own thing, though.
But it does that because it knows about the viewer and the tolerance of the viewer. That's why I let it do it. I don't know the tolerance of the viewer. Some people will actually make a video, excuse me, like a longer video, and they'll purposely put like commercial breaks in where they know they can put a thing in, right? Have you ever done that?
I mean, I do place my ads.
But like in the content, when you're shooting it, do you go, I could maybe put an ad right here and then just kind of like make it easy to find later or anything? Do you ever do that?
No.
See, some people do.
That's what I'm saying. That's really interesting.
Yeah. So they're like, oh, and I'll tell you after this. And then all they have to do is just put the ad right in there. You've never seen this?
No, it's super awkward if YouTube decides not to surface an ad to somebody, though.
Listen, it's not my problem. I got YouTube Premium, so I don't never see them anyway.
That's another thing where it's like, obviously we have Premium and we're not watching ads or thinking about that. But like, oh my goodness, imagine, you know, right after this ad, hey,
I'm back.
There's no ad.
There's no ad. I hope you enjoyed that. Yeah, crazy stuff. So again, answer is, it depends.
It always depends.
So this final one, I think we're going to make a main channel YouTube video about. So I need to write down the minutes we're going to record this because it's kind of an interesting thing that's going around on YouTube, and I want to make sure that this email just came in like right before we started recording.
These are the fun ones.
And I feel like it's a important topic that I want to tackle head on. And the subject is all the YouTube advice. Hello, Jen and Travis. I'm at the point where I feel all the YouTube advice is useless. After all, fundamental principles behind it, all advice are the same, and everything else is just theory crafting. The only thing left is actually doing it and experimenting, you would say. It's just like life, isn't it? First of all, yes, it is very much like life.
Thank you. The game of life, also applicable to YouTube.
The game of life, which is only slightly better than Monopoly, which will tear families apart. I think the game of life is otherwise
kinder.
Safe. Yeah, kinder. Not long ago, actually, it's been a while since my video updates are slowly, I uploaded a video as an experiment. The content was about moldy tea leaves. Normally, that video would have covered the whole process, from discovering the mold on the tea leaves to identifying what kind of mold it was. However, I only uploaded the part showing the discovery of the mold, and I didn't include the identification because at the time I didn't have an answer. The main purpose of this experiment was to shorten the intervals between uploads. The result of the video was poor. I believe if I want to increase the number of views, I would need to provide enough content, and that is the depth and width of the video. Next, I've planned 2 new videos, each with a complete beginning and end. The difference is that one of them covers a narrower topic and is shorter, a DIY tutorial video, while the other is more educational explanation and provides information and demonstration that is longer. Let's see. It'll probably be uploaded by the time you read this, whereas the longer video is estimated to take about 6 months to be done filming. And let's see. So here's where it comes down to. I've been uploading YouTube videos for over 2 years now, and yet I haven't made many videos. In the past, I've tried a few experimental ones. I've gotten some answers, but they've raised more questions. I often wonder, how many more times do I have left to experiment with? Even though I think all the YouTube advice is useless, that doesn't mean I've stopped considering various ideas about managing a YouTube channel. For instance, Nick Nimmin, who's a friend of mine, I love Nick, Nate Black, and Think Media all have provided valuable insights. And of course, my favorite podcast is this. So sometimes I find myself repeatedly refreshing the page just to catch the latest episode. So all this to say, is YouTube advice actually good? Does it actually work? And I like the subversiveness of this because as, quote, YouTube experts, whatever that even means, you know, you would think that we would say something like, yes, of course it works, and blah, 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 blah. And while, yes, it does work, and blah, 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 the reality is just because we give you advice doesn't mean it's going to work for you. That sounds sideways, but it's the truth. Just like if you go to a gym and you do the same exercise as the person next to you, doesn't mean you're going to look like them when you're done doing the exercises. It's all the same thing. The one difference is YouTube is a unknowable, changing thing that you can understand aspects of it really, really well. And if you go over those aspects really strongly, you will succeed eventually. But what that success looks like is going to be different for every single person. Your success may not look like Mr. Beast. Your success might look like Johnny Small Guy with 1,000 views a week, and that's it. That's all it'll ever be. But that's better using the advice that are usually given on channels like this than the 100 views a week you might have gone if you just tried to figure it out yourself. Jenn, YouTube coaching, YouTube advice. What are your thoughts on this? It's highly controversial for some people.
I think it is controversial because I think this is true in the sense where, no, the advice does not work if you don't know how to apply it. And that is what I would guarantee is the problem that you're facing. You're talking about experiments with very few videos. That's not an experiment. You're talking about changing and doing more experiments after you get a small batch of answers. You know, are you properly running an experiment is the first question. This is what so many creators deal with, though. You watch all of these types of creators on the platform and you get all this information, you get super excited. But you're right back to the beginning where you're so close to your channel, you're doing every single job. Are you applying any of this in the proper way? I don't know. The information to application step is where you need somebody else in the process. It is so difficult to do for everyone for their own channel. So feeling like the advice is failing you is 100% valid. It sounds like you just need a little bit more of the how to apply it and a little bit more of the why to apply it, and maybe a dash of the when as well. But it is useless if it's not done right. And that's like anything. You could apply all of the advice we tell you, every single bit, to one video. That one video is still probably going to do what it did the last time you uploaded a video because it takes so many times executing these changes. So you probably have a while to go. Listen to us, all of us, tell you all these things. But try to step back. Try to focus on one thing and see how you can work on executing that and implementing that so that you have a little bit of control behind what you're doing.
Yeah, this is, you said so many awesome things there that are really important to understand. I have coached channels from like 1 view, 1 subscriber, 1 video to millions of subscribers, millions of views. And the advice is usually kind of the same. It's just more specific to their content, but the advice is the same and it does perform every time if you do it correctly. So yeah, some people are going to say, well, you could just find the information for free. Yes, that is true. You can do that for anything. You don't have to go to a gym to lose weight. You don't need to. You know how to lose the weight, eat less, exercise more. There's a secret to losing weight.
Anything on WebMD.
You
Here
totally
we go.
can. You don't need a doctor.
You definitely have the flu.
You definitely have the flu. You know this. You don't need to go to a doctor. You know what to do. Stay home. What's wrong with you? Cover your mouth.
Information. There you go.
But that doesn't mean that some people don't need an extra helping hand along the way. And whether that be watching these videos or getting a YouTube coach or whatever, it doesn't invalidate that. One of the funniest things I hear said all the time, and it's so easily debunked, is something like, well, my coach doesn't have hundreds of thousands of subscribers. Why should I listen to them? Okay. That implies that coaches don't know how to coach. And while that sometimes may be true for a person, they don't have to have done the thing to know how to help you do the thing. Let me give you an example. All you got to do is look at sports. How many coaches of sports teams have never set foot professionally on that field, on a football field, basketball court, whatever, have never played the game professionally, but can win multiple championships with that team? It's because they can coach well. Have I ever had a 1 million subscriber channel personally? No. Have I helped channels get to 1 million subscribers? Yes, because I'm a good coach. So it has nothing to do with whether you've done something. Sure, it might be social proof, but what's ironic about this is I have actually coached, and I know you have too, Jenn, channels with huge subscribers who could never tell you how they got there, would never be able to tell you how to get there because it's a very specific skill that you need in order to do that. Now, does that mean you absolutely need to do it to succeed? No. I spent a lot of time in my first year on YouTube just watching everything, taking it down, writing it down, implementing it. And I was able to succeed very well in my first year on YouTube. I was super happy with it. You can do it too. You can literally watch these free episodes. You can do it. You can grow your channel. You don't need a coach. If you put the time in, you can do it. But there are lots of people who have had a lot of success by either just watching these videos or, as we've shown here on the main vidIQ channel, when work with Jenn, like Newfoundland. Who would know that a star was born in Newfoundland? A star was born, Jenn.
It's really crazy. It's very frustrating to feel like you have the answers, and you have the answers, and then not seeing the results when you feel like you have the answers. That's a very typical place to be on for YouTube. It just realistically is. And it takes time to figure it out, like 1,000%. It takes time doing the same thing over and over. That's the number one thing to think about is, you know, this one piece of advice might work once YouTube understands it in 8 videos. It's not going to understand it in 1 video. And then what happens is the creator then changes everything for that next video. Oh, it didn't get my 1,000,000 views. All right, start it all over. I'm going to apply all the advice in a completely different way. And then, oh, that video didn't do it either. And you just keep kind of exhausting yourself in this cycle versus just being really confident in the beginning of a change that you made, seeing it through, giving it a chance. And then, you know, most of the time it actually does work. Spoiler.
The interesting thing is, spoiler alert, it can work. But here's another thing. A lot of people think, well, I tried, it didn't work, so it can't work. That's almost like saying, well, can you dunk a basketball? No. Maybe you don't even know anyone who can dunk a basketball. Oh, that means no one can dunk a basketball. Excuse me.
Can't.
I need you to turn the TV on and watch a whole bunch of people doing 720s dunking basketballs. Just because you can't do it doesn't mean it doesn't work. And I think that a lot of people they'll try something and they'll even put in a lot of good effort and they'll go, it didn't work for me, so it must be a scam or something. I'm sorry to inform you that no. That is an inaccurate conclusion to come to.
It's hard to know the time that it really, really takes. It's so easy to focus on seeing what you think is a quick win. And then just being like, where's my quick win? Where's my quick win? I have this going on right now with so many of my creators, actually.
Oh?
There is a video that like popped off for this kind of, you know, advice style channel. It's at like 3.4 million views, went from 30K subscribers to now she just hit 100K.
Hey.
Which is incredible. That never happens. Do not expect that to happen.
Right.
And creators are like, well, I'm going to make a similar video and it's going to be my moment. And I'm like, no, it's not.
No, it might not be.
I hope it is. No, it's not.
Yeah.
And you look at this one single moment and don't look at the steps that it took to get there, the opportunities that someone set up for themselves, and just focused on, oh, it was only one video. It was one video. Everything happens in one video. And it's really easy to see it look like that.
There's a statistic, and I maybe if the editor can find it, I'd edit this part out when I'm saying it, but try to put it up. There's a statistic somewhere that talks about how many channels on YouTube only have like 500 subscribers. And to be honest, most people never make it to 500 subscribers. The vast majority of YouTube channels never make it to 500 subscribers. And if you have hit at least that mark or you're close to it, you have surpassed like 90% of the YouTube channels that are on YouTube. It's insane to think about this. If you hit 1,000, it's like even more. The number is ridiculous. At the end of the day, it is not easy. You may have seen videos on YouTube, you're like, I can do that, so it must be easy. No, you're seeing the very tip of the iceberg, the rest of the stuff under the water, all the work they did, all the sacrifice. And I can tell you, I sacrificed a lot in my first year on YouTube. I'm talking literal hours every single day to learning about YouTube. And this is not an exaggeration. I mean, Monday through Sunday, 7 days a week, including when I went to work, hours on this to figure out exactly what works and what doesn't. And there is a lot of work that needs to be done. And some people, every once in a while, someone will get lucky. They'll throw something out. It goes viral, whatever. But also, some people win the lottery, Jen.
That's what a video like that on YouTube is. It's winning the lottery.
Yes.
You know, you can take all this advice and yes, it will work. Can you predict and have a strategy that's going to do that for you? No.
I mean, it's like, oh, well, people win the lottery? Let me get my savings out and I'm gonna buy all the lottery tickets.
And how many lottery tickets have they bought in the past? Let's ask that question.
Bro, seriously.
Let's equate that to how many videos somebody's published until they hit the lottery. I don't think they bought their first ticket.
You know, it's funny. This is actually a true story. I gave my mom winning lottery numbers once when I was young. She won like $500.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
That's adorable. That's really adorable.
All this to say this. YouTube is a hard, rough grind, but we are here to help you. We're here to do it. And you don't even have to pay anything. We're here to help you grow your YouTube channel. So you should love us. Please give me love. Give me a hug, please. Thank you. All right. That'll be the end of that video. with a very awkward looking into the camera asking for a hug. Jenn, this is the end of the podcast.
The end of the podcast now?
I say that as maybe the end of the podcast period because I talked about OJ gloves and then hugging people, so we might get canceled.
You're crossing a lot of boundaries here.
I've had a lot going on this week, so I feel like it's okay. You know what happened? I forgot to tell you. You were gone when this happened. We got several people leaving comments and messages saying that they liked the homework and they did their homework and their wins. The wins, people love that. They gave us multiple people sent in their wins for the week.
Oh, I know. I wanted to hear the wins. I wanted to be a part of the wins.
So now you got to ask
people should continue to send in their wins because it's so important to celebrate when we get so defeated by some of these big moments that we're talking about. When we see someone's channel pop off and we feel jealous and we feel like it should be me. When is it me? Which is totally normal. Everyone's had that moment on YouTube because you're working hard and you want to be rewarded for it. But there are so many things that you're not celebrating that should be celebrated 1000%. Look for the wins. It's honestly what's gonna keep you on the platform.
So leave a comment in the YouTube video if you're watching that. You can send us a message at theboost@vidIQ.com, or you can send us a text message on the audio podcast. We'd love to hear from you. And we will be back again not too long from now. Jenn missed you. She told me that.
I did miss everybody. I feel so left out.
Well, you're back now. It doesn't matter.
I'm back.
Well, you're back, and that's all that really matters, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. This was another incredible episode of the Candy Podcast without Candy. I'm Travis. That's Jenn. Jenn, say goodbye.
Goodbye.